And we're live. Hey people, how you doing? Welcome to episode 240 of the Sports Therapy Association podcast. My name is Matt Phillips, creator of RunChatLive.com. And as always, this episode is being recorded live at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday on the Sports Therapy Association YouTube channel. So we've reached the 6th episode now of our new reflection series on the Sports Therapy Association podcast, in which I invite a listener of the podcast onto the show to chat with me about a past episode of the STA podcast that particularly affected their daily practice as a soft tissue therapist. Last week, my guests, massage and movement therapist Stevie Barr of Fit Through Life and Tristan Attenborough of Move Massage Pro, reflected on episode 74 of the Sports Therapy Association podcast, which was entitled Massage 2021, the Year of Change, recorded back in October 2021 with guests Anna Maria Mazzieri and Matt Skarsbrook of the Massage Collective. So I must give great thanks to Stevie Barr and Tris Attenborough for providing some really great, fantastic reflection on the industry. And they really did highlight in great ways how we have evolved as an industry in some ways, but also kind of suggested there's still a lot of change that needs to happen in order for massage and soft tissue therapy to sit well within modern healthcare. So that episode is available, as always, on all popular podcast apps and also YouTube if you want to watch the video. Right, speaking of change, have you seen the recent announcement across social media that the STA, in collaboration with the ST School and Hands On Hub, are bringing a brand new style of CPD conference designed to kickstart the future of healthcare education. Really excited to be involved in this. The inaugural event is going to be happening in Exmouth this September, given that it's the STA Southwest Conference this time. On September the 20th and 21st, which I'm thrilled to say is a Saturday and a Sunday, which I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear. And there's also going to be a social on the Saturday night, so it's going to be amazing. And I will be the Master of Ceremonies across the 2 days, so I'm really looking forward to seeing many of you there. It is the idea is a regional event, so don't worry if you're not in the southwest of the UK. Plans are to hold this new type of conference all around the country, so that you no longer need to travel miles to get that all important CPD in. The STA is still going to have a stand at Therapy Expo in November this year. So if you're going to Therapy Expo in November, then do come and say hi. But we will no longer be putting on the STA Theatre, just as the ST School will be no longer be running their Hands On Hub, because instead we're collaborating to bring the CPD to your part of the country during the year. And it starts this September, the 20th and 21st in Exmouth. Details of speakers, presentations, workshops, and the unique focus on networking, which we're very proud of, will be released over the next few days. So do be sure to follow at UK_STA and at the ST School on social media for details. And as always, if you've got any questions at all, feel free to email me, Matt, at thesta.co.uk. Right then, back to tonight's show. Episode 240. What are we reflecting about? Well, in a nutshell, Pilates. Dun, dun, dun. Back in October 2021, in episode 73 of the Sports Therapy Association podcast, I was joined by special guest Raphael Bender of Breathe Education and the Pilates Elephants podcast for an episode entitled Evidence Informed Pilates. It was a hugely popular episode, still available on YouTube and all popular podcast apps. So here tonight, 3 years later, to reflect on that episode is Chareeya Kaewsawang. We'll check how my pronunciation is in a second. Also known as the Wee Physio. So without any further ado, let's bring up Chareeya. Chareeya, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm okay. You can give my pronunciation now a mark out of 10. Totally up to you. I don't want to sway you.
10 out of 10, definitely.
Oh, check that out. Thank you
Well
very
done.
much for that.
Well done.
We do like making an effort here.
Well done.
So really nice to see you again, and an extra doubly nice because you're setting a new record tonight, because you are actually joining us. I didn't realize until a few moments ago. At what time is it in Thailand?
It's actually 2 a.m. in the morning in Thailand.
I love it. We could now say we've had a guest join us at 2 in the morning. You're setting a new record. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for that.
Don't worry, everybody. I already have siesta, so I'm wide awake now. That's a good power nap.
That's so kind of you. I really didn't realize when you offered to be on the show reflecting on an episode, I thought you were still in Glasgow. I didn't realize that you were up for joining me at 2 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah.
yeah, double thank you.
And also thank you for having me as well. I'm really excited to be on this show as well.
Thank you. No, I'm really thrilled to see you again because you were with us back in December last year. And for people, listeners who aren't aware, in episode 221, you were here as part of a panel of clinicians reflecting on Therapy Expo 2024 at the NEC Birmingham. And it was a
Yes.
great episode. I mean, everything you and the other panel gave. And in fact, that episode was one of the few episodes which made me take on this kind of reflecting series of podcasts we're doing now, because people just love hearing from clinicians themselves. So you are responsible for like everything we're doing now. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much as well. It's kind of like, I'm so sorry I might haven't speak English like for a while. I listen to English as well because obviously I'm in Thailand. And yeah, I'm just
Hey,
a
you're doing
little bit
fine.
panic here. I'm just a
Don't
little
worry.
bit panic here.
Don't worry. There's no problem too. You're doing absolutely great. Right. So people who joined us live, just a quick shout out
Oh.
for you. We love people who join us live. Gary Benson, founder of the STA, is in the house, who was actually here back in episode 71 that we're talking about. I had a look at the people who are joining us, which was like over 3 years ago, in episode 73, sorry. So
73.
Hislop has joined us as well. Hey Cecily, thank you very much. Nikki Mansfield is here as well, who says here we go, here we go, here we go. Wonderful. Sort of crowd we've got in here. So Glenn Murphy is here saying hello to fellow sports therapist. Sarah Jones, who is also back with us for the original episode with Raf, has joined us again. So we've got some long-standing people coming here. Louise Asher is here. That's probably the first time I've said her surname correctly. Stevie Barr has stepped in as well. Thank you very much, Stevie, for coming in from last week. Stevie is here as well. Yeah, thanks, Stevie. Charlie Patrick, thanks for joining us, Charlie. And Nikki Mansfield, who says, oof, you wouldn't get that kind of commitment from me, Matt. What, 2 in the morning? No, I don't think,
2 in the morning.
I don't think many people would do 2 in the morning. Right, so thanks, people, for joining us live. Really appreciate it. And do feel free, as always, to ask us questions because it's a great topic tonight, Pilates. So maybe we should start then, if it's okay with you, Chareeya. Tell us a little bit about your background, particularly about your involvement in Pilates, and also why, out of all 235 episodes, you decided to choose this particular episode.
So, right, obviously, I'm a physiotherapist, and also a Pilates instructor. I got qualified as a Pilates last year. So Pilates also a new things for me as well, besides being a physio. I've been being a physio for like 6-7 years after graduate. So you might questions like why I'm in Thailand in UK. So basically I graduated as a bachelor physiotherapy in Thailand. Okay. And then I got a chance to do a master degree in Glasgow universities in sports and exercise medicines. And then once I graduate, also I have a chance or opportunity to work in the UK as a physio. And Pilates is an area that I'll start to want to explore more. Whereas I work a lot with elderly peoples, and I want what I thought at that times is I want to have more weapons as exercises in my library. And I think Pilates also, a good start point for to help people start to move as well in different way. And yeah, that's where my Pilates journey starts. And probably just right now, until right now, is probably a year. So my experience or area about Pilates is might be not that long, but the reason I started to pick, I decided to pick this episode, which is 73, is when I listened to it, I feel like it sparked the idea that I have or the questions I have in the past. And I started to digging in more into like, okay, what are things, what are questions, and it actually a really amazing episode from Raphael's as well. So that the reason that why I picked this up. I'm gonna go over like each point why this is, help me to share my thoughts about what I'm gonna do and what I can help people's. How could I help my clients in the future as well?
Fantastic. No, great to
So
hear.
like
And
that.
it's really interesting because, I mean, Rafa spent a lot of the episode kind of bringing up a lot of the misinformation and myths which exist around Pilates. And he kind of said that 10 years ago, he would, if he'd started saying the things he was saying, then he would have been crucified. But he kind of feels that now therapists are a little bit more open to hearing the kind of ways which we need to tweak some of the mechanisms of action, that sort of stuff. But I'm interested, when you listen to that episode, so you hadn't done Pilates for that long.
Yes, my
Did you
experience is just
find
a year.
did you find that what you'd been taught on what was in theory, a fairly modern course had a lot of those kind of misconceptions in there? Were you surprised by some of the things he
Yeah.
said?
So I would say my course that I did is definitely say like drawing your belly button toward the spines, tuck your tummy in. It's more focused definitely on core activation, and also more we are most of the physio have to read Paul Hodges' paper definitely about the activation of TRAs and everything. And also once I graduate, when I done the courses and I listened to his episode, it actually do we need this? Because actually there are a lot of core exercises. Core exercises and core activation is different. So a core strengthening exercises, from my point of view, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be muscle isolated contractions. So it's actually give me more an idea, and I also have a questions why I'm learning it, but I never ask. But when I start to bring it, and then I have an idea, and it's just like, right, okay, kind of like start to have questions when I put it to practice.
So
The
that's really
cueing as
interesting
well.
then. So I just
Yeah.
want to check then. So did you say that as a physio, you'd studied the Paul Hodges paper? With that, we're talking about the 1996
90s.
paper, yeah,
Yes, that one.
which is basically
1990s.
talking about inefficient muscular stabilization of the lumbar spine associated with lower back pain, where him and Carolyn Richardson, whose name we should also mention. I like saying Carolyn Richardson because I just think it's an example of kind of the patriarchy. We all know it's the Hodges paper, but in fact, the second author is a woman, but she doesn't get a mention.
Yeah,
So we're going to say it's the
yeah.
Paul
Yeah,
Hodges and Carolyn Richardson
okay.
paper. No, it's not. I wasn't having a go at you. I just think it just happens in society.
Yeah.
It just gets dropped. But yeah, so people who aren't aware, I just want to. Well, no, actually, do you remember what the details of that study was and what they suggested?
To be honest, I didn't go deep down that much. So what I normally want to say, this is the idea that I've been taught when I was a student in a bachelor in physio on my third and fourth years. So we actually have in Thailand. So I learned as a physio in Thailand. Okay, so that is already tell about core activations, because that idea is very big. And also, I'm not sure what happened in the UK, but it's quite big in also in Thailand. So I'm the person who also treat people by when they come to see me with back pains. I was just like, okay, let's try some like core stability exercises. Okay, I'm also that persons as well in the past. So I use that too, and I start to see, no, it doesn't work that much. We don't see any progress regarding to like working on these exercises. So how we should do. And then once the research came out more, is that actually it doesn't do the core stabilities exercises, doesn't provide significance comparing to general exercises. So what you mean? I was just like, okay, we just need to go by the research, still let the research guide us in the future, and open for the change. Because I'm also the person who spent 15 minutes in sessions once I graduate or undergrads, teaching people core activation, feel your tummies, like that as well. And I feel like I also, what I would say is, I Raphael episodes, he tried to talk about the era of Pilates since like Joseph, I think Romana, and then Frank, and then when the turning point is come to where Hodges published the papers. So same with me. You can see what gonna the journeys of Pilates as well. Same as my journey. I also learned along with them. I think this is also right to my clients, to my patient, and I think okay, this is good. I'm gonna help them. And then once the time passed by, okay, the research guide us a different way. So that's why I'm quite interested when the topic is like evidence-informed Pilates, because it actually kind of like hooked me at the first, like hit me home, because it's like, I mean, I've strived to base my Pilates teachings on both science and experience, and I want to, like try to help my clients as much as I could. So yeah, that's pretty much an idea. That kind of like why I shoot these topics. Sorry for the long answer.
No. It's interesting to hear your experience, and it's really interesting to hear that. And I wonder how worldwide this is, but the Pilates course you were taught was still talking about core activation, even though science has kind of moved on. And I was just going to say before people, I mean, if anyone's listening here who's still doing core activation exercises, first of all, don't go away, don't get too scared. We're not going to throw everything out at all. All we're talking about is giving you an idea that all of that core activation stuff, and I used to do it in 2000. I'd have people doing kind of core activation exercises before they did the strength exercises. Even rugby players and American football players, everyone was doing it. People doing squats on footballs and bench press on footballs. It was all about, based on this research, where basically he was with a bunch of students, and they noticed with kind of looking at muscle activation that people with lower back pain, his students, it was just a bunch of students, when they moved their shoulder, the ones without lower back pain, they had a contraction of the transverse abdominis and the multifidus before the deltoid. But then those who didn't have back pain, those who did have back pain, it didn't happen. They didn't see this pre-contraction. So they kind of suggested that maybe that this could be linked with back pain. Later on, in about 2006 or something, they realized that this was all not correct, that it's nothing to do with it. But by then, of course, Pilates had grabbed onto that, called themselves contemporary Pilates, which was a bit strange as well. And it stayed that way. So it just amazes me that you were still taught that a year ago.
So it's like, it's also on our workbook a little bit. But the thing is, they also mentioned about transverse abdominis as well. But they're not going to highlight to say that, okay, to do this, tuck your tummy in. Some words they still use as a cue as well. But they're not going to, point out that, okay, right, you need to do this first. Pre-activation TRAs always. They're not saying that. It's okay. But the conception is still there. Okay.
Okay.
Because there is a page explains about this. So I could say that's the core stability. The core stabilities concept is the thing that I get taught when I study.
And did you say you were taught that during physio study as well?
No. Oh, yes, right. So back in when I was a physio student on my third and fourth year, this also bring it to be there's one lectures as well to talk about the core stability exercises. So we actually lie to your back, bend your knees, bend your hip, place your hands on the hip bones, and then draw your belly button into the spine, working on the breathings. I was told that when I was a physio student. That's a fact.
How long ago was that? We've just lost Chareeya. I'm sure she'll be back very second. It is a connection from Thailand, so I was a bit worrying that was going to happen. People in the audience, just while Chareeya comes back, hopefully. How many of you, and be honest here, how many of you went through a stage where you were tilting getting your client to tilt their pelvis and find neutral and then activate, feeling it? I mean, did you all do it? I just want to check. And are any of you still doing it? Hi. Don't worry, I'm sure that will happen. That's okay, no problem at all. I've just asked the audience.
They must do something. They must do something here. Let's see.
You need to put some more Bart in the machine just to keep it going. I was just asking the audience how many of them have or maybe still do that with clients, as in getting them to find neutral pelvis, which is supposed to be, the ideal place halfway in the middle, because that kind of links in very much with it. The idea of a perfect symmetry and posture is very much linked to that paper, and since then that's been proved. So I just want to know whether people in the audience used to do it, because this must be quite scary. If there's a Pilates instructor listening to this and they're doing, 3 classes a day, 5 days a week, if they're teaching this stuff, their first reaction is going to be, what you're saying? And they're either going to be angry or sad, and they're just going to, either one we do on one. So what advice would you have to a Pilates instructor who's tuned in and they're going, what do you mean that we don't need to do core activation exercises? What do you mean we shouldn't be spending so much time finding symmetrical or kind of neutral pelvis? What advice would you have for them?
So, okay. So before I answer those questions, I'm gonna bring it back a little bit.
Okay.
So as I say, this topic is actually sparked me, and I will say I'm a humble physio that I want to just keep learnings and keep going growth every day. So the thing is, that why I start the questions, and when I listen to this topic, I was like, okay, this actually help people who have misconceptions, or because evidence informed Pilates. What Raphael says actually, okay, first the best evidence. So the patient preference or perspective, and also our expertise combined. So there's a definition of notation difference, like definition of notation of evidence-based practice and evidence-informed Pilates. I might not am a native speaker, so I went back. I went to the Cambridge dictionary to see. Okay, evidence-informed means. So I would say evidence-informed is not restricts. It's just strict from the rule book, but it's actually more like, okay, we can get adapted. We can combine things, this and those, combine with our expertise to actually guide our clients to the bed result, or tailor the exercise to that person to give the results. So to answer those questions, I already that person who still who already like, okay, what the concept that has been taught, is that wrong? So what should I do about the pre-activations and all the stuff? That's why I already answered in the first that we already have Mary era, we already have the turning points, right? So it's okay to have some change, less the research guides us, because that actually have something supports to what we do. So sometimes there's an idea. I used to be the person who used pre-activation because of the thing that I was taught when I was like third year, fourth year physio students as well. We already say that, okay, upper cross syndrome, lower cross syndrome, anterior pelvic tail, tie hip flexor and everything, weak glutes, all of those things. Like anterior pelvic tails is not normal things when I was taught. And also ones right now is we just embrace the difference is also a normal distributions. We don't work just ideal things right now. That was I thought. Like I try to embrace the difference as well. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be like same as flat feet, what we talk in terms of physio. People who have flat feet doesn't always show the problem. So we also consider that normal as well. So same as pelvic tilt, neutral position, point your pelvic forwards, point it back. But if we think about the scoliosis and you want to improve the range of motion or the amplitude, pelvic tilt also a good exercise to use, but not just say or blame the pelvic tilt that you have anterior pelvic tilt, you need to bring it back. Not like that. It's from my point of view. If it's not bringing you the issues, pain, or just like something that it actually we need to look at as a bigger picture.
That's great. That's great advice. So yeah, so basically what I'm hearing is you don't have to stop getting your clients or patients to do the same exercises as you've been doing with them, but you mustn't, you should not kind of blame a lack of position or certain position on their pain, because it's a bit more complicated than that. You're not striving for the perfect symmetry or the norm. Great. No, really cool. So I'm interested then, what is, if we take those things out of the equation, so we're not chasing symmetry, we're not looking
Okay,
for a
right.
perfect neutral pelvis, what would you say are the main advantages of Pilates as a form of exercise for people who are, well, for anybody?
Okay, so as for my point of view is, as I say, I would say there's one people say that library, that light instead of toolbox. I prefer to use library because sometimes when we actually like know more things and try to learn more things, same Pilates also another kind of like library for me that I could pick up and tailor the exercise that suit to that people. as well. So I consider Pilates also another strengthening exercises, and breathing is like a whole body approach. Like because it's my like more like a breathing exercises, mental exercises. So as from my point of view, it's also another library, like the things in my library that I could pick and tailor that things to my clients. So I'm not trying to say that this is okay, this one is amazing over than that one, or this one is less than that one. I think it just like depends on that person needs, like that. Is that answer your questions?
Yeah, no, I think so. No, it's great. It's kind of clear. It gives you more, and I like the way you do change from toolbox to library. I think that's going to catch on now. Yeah, it gives you more um, kind of whole body experiences for the person
Yeah.
to go through, which could well help, and also the breathing as well. A nice whole body
Yeah.
approach. Maybe what would be quite cool is, could you, without giving away any names or anything, can you think of any case histories or any conditions where you have used your knowledge of Pilates to help a client outcome?
So I would say one interesting one is probably scoliosis. So I might to be disclaimer, I might not I'm expert in scoliosis here, but I have one scoliosis case which is functionals, and I feel like I had this experience, and I feel like Pilates has specific exercises for scoliosis, like I mentioned already, like pelvic tilt to kind of let, and then like to the thing is, I try to combine the idea that I had from Pilates that I learned from the course, plus the recent scoliosis rehabs research. So I try to search, okay, what one I could do, what should I update, because I'm not expert in scoliosis. So I combined what I learned from classical Pilates mat works with target the breathing drill. So you can say, like you can see, the scoliosis breathing exercise also really important as well. And yeah, like that. So I try to combine this and use this with my clients. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Pretty much like that. So
Can I have a definition of, because we're kind of familiar as well, as a slight kink in the spine once upon a
yeah,
time, which was out of symmetry, we would say, isn't necessarily going to cause pain or problems. And we've seen plenty of examples of athletes with a little bit of scoliosis or a little bit of a change of curvature.
concave. Yeah,
What's your definition of, you said like functional scoliosis.
it's
What's
like
your
more like a
definition of
muscle.
scoliosis that needs actual intervention?
So as I say, so right now I'm trying to, because when I see scoliosis people's, first we know some people come with the X-ray, some people doesn't. So functionals I think is more like from the muscle imbalance from both sides. So we start to more like, let's try to move this side, and then let's see the concave and the convex curve, and then let's use the exercises to help them to do more like breathing exercise combined with together. But as I say, I'm not an expert in scoliosis, but I'm also the person who try as much as I could to help people. So I went back home, working on the studies. I take a little bit of short course for like 4 hours of CPD in the UK to work on Pilates for scoliosis people. And okay, sorry, I was just distracted by
Oh, don't
reading
worry
the
about them. They've
comments.
got loads of conversations going on. They're talking about bird dogs or something. That's fine.
Yeah, I think the bird dogs. Okay, I haven't used it for ages. So so pretty much like that. And also the people that I use Pilates with, beside the scoliosis, is more like just general people who are more like a computer based, and we start to like let them move more. Most of the people that, regarding to my experience, most of the people who like Pilates is going to be more like they choose this because they prefer to do this, and they think is they can stay consistency. So what I normally advise to my client, if you find something that you could do consistency and you enjoy doing it, just keep doing it, even though it's different form of exercises. Like there's most of my clients, and they don't want to go to the gym, and I was like, okay, strengthening weight training exercise is amazing, but if you don't want to go to the gym, but if you want to keep doing the Pilates, that's also mean the consistency and discipline is more like accountabilities as well. So I was just like, okay, just do what you think you can stick on for long times. like
That's
that.
good. No, that's true. Yeah, there's definitely the evidence, like you started saying, evidence informed. You have to give a little bit of the clients what they like and what they enjoy, because otherwise the exercise adherence is not going to be there. I'm interested again. So Rafa talked about a lot of the misconceptions out there with regards to looking for symmetry and looking for kind of that pre-activation of the core muscles. What about somebody who's listening who is running a class of, I don't know, 20 mat Pilates or something, and they've been using a lot of these cues and doing pre-activation exercises, and imagine that they've listened to some of Rafa's episodes and they've realized that I shouldn't really be using these internal cues. I should be using more external cues, for example, or because I'm not really helping these people as much as I potentially could. Maybe they need to change the language they're using. That's probably going to have an effect on the class. In your experience, how do people who are receiving Pilates react when you start tweaking the messages you're giving? Are they kind of surprised, or they just go with it?
So mine says I have these transitions I pass. I mean, my experience might not that long, but I have these transitions happen with me as well. So first is when I start using one terms or describe some people, they don't understand, and they might not get it, or maybe some people, they just stick to this cue already. And then when we start to change the way we say the words, there are two ways. So they respond differently, so they don't understand at all, or they just they get it more, and then they just calm down. So basically, I think it's okay that you start to change a little bit, and get, and also collect the data and response from your clients. That's why I learned from Raphael, that why it's called evident informed. You need to gathering the informations from clients perspective as well. So I'm not just like, right, okay, I'm gonna change today. His episode is actually kind of like, let's giving me a question mark, throw the questions, and then, okay, what is it, what I do, is it the right one? And I feel like, okay, let's try to see how it goes. Let's start to adapt and change a little bit, but not rapid change. It's okay that you can start to implement things a little bit, but not just rapid change one night like that, from my point of view. So you might get different response regarding the clients or the people who are working on, but it's okay to change. It doesn't have to be like, as I say, let the research guide us. I'm also people who follow the research, and also we I'm not a researcher, but the thing is, we also kind of like see the trends, how fast the world is the changing, even though it's a normal day on academic day. So it's just like, that it's not that a big scary thing to make change, or a little jump first before you do a big jump like that. If you feel like it's really hard to just swap everything rapidly, so just make sure that you kind of like do it smoothly in your way, I would say.
That's nice. That's hopefully not as scary as listeners might be thinking about having to suddenly do totally different classes. And I like the idea you said about, keeping communication going with your class and your clients, and seeing how they feel and how they react to slightly different cues and stuff. That's really cool as well. So that's great. And don't forget, people who join us live, if you've got any questions, or if you do, is anybody in the live audience actually teach Pilates or use Pilates inspired movements and stuff like that, then do feel free to put the question in there. I just wanted to say, to make sure that Raphael's podcast, Pilates Elephants, is still very much alive and kicking. Can be found on all popular podcast apps. I didn't actually realize that how many he does. I mean, when I first spoke to him in
300.
2021, he was on episode 52 back then in 2021, and now he's on 307. Which means he's doing an average of more than one a week, which has actually made me feel a little bit jealous, because I thought I was doing well with one a week. And he's actually beaten that. He's incredible. But yeah, there is, just for people who are listening, there is a whole, there's like 307 episodes where he takes you through. And I like to think he is pretty gentle in looking after people, especially back in the beginning where he was with Chloe Bunter, who's a co-host. They're really
The
good
co-host.
at just looking after you. They're not going to jump on a pedestal and saying, you're doing it all wrong, you're an idiot. They're quite, and I think that's really important, because it is scary to have to change what you're doing but it's natural, isn't it? We shouldn't really fear it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make you want to go back to the school who taught you the Pilates and get your money back, or do you understand that that's kind of what they were
Yeah,
teaching?
I
And
mean, I
does it annoy you to
this
spend money?
um yeah, I was like, I never think about it until you said it, but I mean, it's also the journey that who I am today. So probably I
Okay.
just invest what I'm saving right now. So yeah, but the big thing that I haven't talked about it, and I
Mm.
want to say it right now is the thing is I want to you know, I love his, I mean Bender. I love Bender big pictures and
Mm.
views and his energetic styles that actually inspiring to hear, you know, the instructor who actually digging into science. And then I feel like, okay, and he continued doing podcasts and the Instagram as well too, you know, more like a mini micro CPD for people who actually, you know, working on the phones every day and then scrolling. And that's also what the thing that you're doing right now. And I was just like, I'm really thankful that he's brought this up and actually, you know, inspires the people who actually use this exercise or this form of exercise like me to actually, okay, what's the question? This is the question mark. And how could we do it in a better way? And what the research say, what the clients experience like this and that. And I feel like he not like, this is not good like that, as you say. So he actually gives support, things, an idea to just, okay, lead us to do like, so I would say, is this a research to practice gap like that? So is, I would say Bender alludes to Pilates course often includes older belief and new teacher just absorb, and just like a strategy on start to integrating research into teacher trainings. That's
Mhm.
what the big question that I could get. So my question is it okay? Is, for instance, should certification program like require and evidence informed or based practice module in the Pilates training course? Probably. Like if you're training in Pilates course, should we have the certificates or the module that is actually talk about evidence-based practice? Or Chi Studios can subscribe to more like a journal that actually have updated CPD or regular meetings like that. So it's going to be, you know, more in terms of practice and bridge the gaps between research to the practice gap like that. Because to be honest, sometimes if I learn one topics, I might not, because there are area that we use as a physio, we might not stay updated on this one area. That thing that already go really fast. For example, if we use an ACL, we listened to the therapy expo last year about the quad tendon surgery that actually start to expanding in the UK, and in Thailand we still do hamstring graft as well. So it's like if I'm not the people who have a lot of ACL experience, like clients and experience, I'm not gonna go and, you know, update that much area. Same as the physio, same as the Pilates as well. So it's gonna be nice if we actually put this into a training course as well to for Pilates instructor, and have kind of like the places that we can actually see updated, like what Bender do. So
Mhm.
I just want to say thank you to him that actually, you know, doing this as well, right?
That's very nice. I'm
So
sure.
when I think about Pilates and science, just like, okay, let's see his Instagrams. So it's gonna be a really quick read comparing to if you need to spend time, probably an hour, probably 2 hours, like me, if the English is not my first language. So I need to like, okay, so that's kind of like a very quick knowledge update dailies, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. He's very good on Instagram, and it is a very nice way of learning and
Mm-hmm.
taking on new information bit by bit. Breathe
Mm-hmm.
Education is the tag if you're looking for Raphael Bender. The website Breathe
Mm-hmm.
Education, and then also on Instagram, and also he has a
Mm-hmm.
personal account as well. Yeah, so good information. So did you say you're not angry with the people who charged you for that Pilates course? You just think, it's who I am today, it's fine, or do you think they've got a
A little
responsibility?
bit,
A little bit.
a little bit, to be honest, because of also, I mean, I'm think about, I have no ideas first. I'm still believe that is right for my bachelor degrees. Okay,
Mm.
I'm taught as a physio, so bachelor also taught me. So when I teach, when I learn it, okay, that's right. Okay, let's try lecture, studies, and then when I actually listen to his podcast is actually okay. Okay, that's a good question. And when I read the paper that it came out, right, that aligns. So that's what we do all the way in the past wrong. And how could we do? I'm growing angry a little bit, but the thing is, yeah, we need to move forwards, right? So just like keep updating. That is the most important thing that I learned from this actions and what happened to me. That if once we learn things, we cannot just stay and think it's going to be right forever. It could be, but the thing is, everything is changed every day. So keep updated is the thing that is going to be another, I would say, skill that most of the healthcare provider, not just Pilates instructor or physio, have to do.
That's very cool. So you're taking it as a positive experience and to remind
I'm
yourself
trying
that I need to update it. Yeah.
I don't try to be optimistic, but yeah, a little bit of money back would be nice.
She added at the end. Yeah, because they're not cheap, some of these. And unfortunately, again, it's like, because this very much, and I think Raf as well mentioned this in the podcast, there's lots of similarities between Pilates and soft tissue therapy and manual therapy, because it's all very much, the problems are basing it on a kind of pathoanatomical model, a structural model where we're blaming structure, the biomechanics, and we're looking for perfect symmetry. And so there's a very much a similar situation going on. But if we're working with people in pain and people are paying us money and coming to us for professional opinions, we've kind of got a duty to make sure we're giving them something which is up to date. Otherwise, we're taking money for someone in pain, and that's an ethical nightmare. We really shouldn't be doing it. So it's interesting. But yeah, right. Well, look, it's 8:43. That was a fast.
Oh, okay. That's a very fast. I feel I'm still wide awake, even though it's almost 3 a.m. in the morning.
No, it's really nice to hear your perspective. And I love the way you're paying homage to Raf, who's a great educator. And I will contact him and give him a link to this. Obviously, he's in Melbourne in Australia, so he's fast asleep now. Because when he joined us, it was 7 a.m. So he might be up now. He could be up. It could be about 7:30.
I think probably 6 hours for me. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's about 8 o'clock there. But I'll make sure I forward this to him. It's very cool. If people are interested in staying in contact with you, then Instagram, did we say, is the best place?
Yeah, you can just you can DM me, because right now I'm back to Thailand already because of my personal reason. So I'm not in the UK anymore. So if you have anything or any suggestions or feedbacks, I'm really open to everything. So you can just direct me or inbox to my Instagram. So I think
that's at �WePhysio, yeah?
Yes, that one.
And
so
it's
�WePhysio.
at WEE Physio, right? So which is good, because that's a segue into why you called the �WePhysio.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the names. And then that day there one football lad that he taught me Glaswegian. And he taught me the word "we" like that. It mean a little, and I was just like, "Oh, I love that word." And I'm only, a small, not a small, but I'm just like the people who run around with the football players, and then just like, "Okay, right, I'm here, everybody." I was just like, "Oh, we feel so gonna be a nice name," and it also, I to be honest, I love Glasgow so much. It's already my second home, and I feel like when I create something, it's also shaped me to this person. It's gonna be nice to have the words. That's kind of like a Scottish word on my Instagram.
Very nice. And when you were there, you were with 𝐸𝐿 Physio, with Natalie Kyle there?
Yes, I was. My old workplace is 𝐸𝐿 Physio. In Glasgow, East Kilbride. And with Natalie, she's an amazing person as well.
It's amazing how you say the word Glasgow. Suddenly you go into it's such a perfect Scottish accent. Most people listening would go Glasgow, but you're like, and when I am in Glasgow, it's perfect.
Glasgow. That is yes.
No, that's great. Right. Yeah. So shout out to Natalie Kyle from nkphysio.com in Glasgow. We'll make sure that link goes in there, because I know you're very proud of the work that she does over there in Glasgow. And hopefully one day we'll bring the STA conference up to Glasgow. We've got a few contacts up there. I'm taking my GATE course to Calendar, which is not that close to Glasgow. It's more Stirling, but it's up there. So I'm looking forward to visiting there. Yeah, it's just down the road from Stirling, so it's not too far.
I think it's probably 20 minutes train from Glasgow.
It's not too bad.
Not too far at all.
It's not too bad. We have actually got in the audience tonight Stevie Barr from the Scottish Therapists Facebook group. He's in Glasgow. So we got Scottish representatives in tonight. Do you know the Scottish Facebook group, Scottish Therapists on Facebook?
I'm not sure, but I'm not in any
If
group.
you
The
miss
physio.
Scotland, then they'll send you the link. That's a nice place in case you are missing Scotland. It's a good place to hang out
You
with therapists.
you know what? When I'm in Scotland, what I normally do. So I watch the Glaswegians videos on YouTube, and then I realized that I barely understand it, and I was just like, oh my god, I need to understand that, not 100%, but probably more than 50s. But yeah, right now it's just like, what did you say?
Yeah,
Like
it is.
that. Oh,
Yeah,
there's one people say that you have Glaswegian Thai accents. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Copenhagen. Yeah.
Nikki said that I have a Glaswegian Thai accent. Am I?
Yeah, definitely. That's a compliment. And Stevie from Glasgow has said, understandable, Chareeya. Yeah, he understands everything you're saying. It is tricky to understand. Glasgow is unless you're from Glasgow. Anyway, right. So thank you so much for giving up your time. Really appreciate it. Really interesting reflections. And if you are listening to this podcast and you have got any questions on Pilates or you want more information, then follow Chareeya at �WeePhysio, WEE Physio, on Instagram. And also we'll put links in there to the Pilates Elephants podcast. There's so much there, and to Raphael Bender and all of that. Wonderful. Right then, next week we continue with our reflection series on May the 13th. Yeah, got the date right, at 8 o'clock. My guest is going to be sports massage therapist Hannah Tabram, who's also been on the show before, who's going to be reflecting on episode 87, menopause transition, soft tissue implications. That was recorded as part 2 of a women's health series we did back in February 2022 with special guest Jenny Burrell, very big in the women's health industry. So that's going to be a really good reflection with sports massage therapist Hannah Tabram. Looking forward to that. And remember, people, if you would like to be a guest on the show, then to chat about a particular episode, then all you got to do is just hit me up on social media. So either at RunChat Live or at UK_STA, and we'll have a discuss. Chareeya, you were pretty nervous, I think we can admit, before you started, but then English is your second language. But do you feel more relaxed now? Do you feel like...
I will say yes, because
the
thing is, I speak Thai whole day today, and I was just like, okay. And I feel like I lost some confidence by watching the video of Glaswegians people speaking English, and I barely understand. So I was just like, okay, am I gonna fully understand? I'm just like, okay, this is 2 p.m. and how I'm gonna work. So I drink coffee.
You've done very
So
well.
I'm not sure when I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah. Good luck with that. But no, I really appreciate you joining us at such a like 2:30, whatever it's 3 o'clock in the morning in Thailand. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Okay, people.
Thank
that
you
brings
for
us to the end.
as well. Sorry to
No,
disturb
that's
you.
fine. Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Right then, people, that brings us to the end of the episode. 8:50, not bad. It was a great topic, and I'm hoping some of you will be able to join us live. If you listen to the podcast, then do please leave a rating or a review, just so we can get the word out there to more people, because that's part of changing education, is just making Google work for you. But it's only going to happen if you leave ratings and reviews for the podcast so it appears higher up. So please do that if you listen to the podcast. Everyone who joined us live, thank you so much again, gang. Nikki says, lovely wee episode. Thanks, guys. Lovely. Stevie Barr says, nice chat, folks. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you joining us live. Thank you so much.
ขอบคุณค่ะ ขอบคุณค่ะ Stephen, as mean thank you in Thai.
There you go. We'll make a soundbite out of that. We'll test you next week and see if you can say it. Right. Thanks very much. Thank you very much, Chareeya. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yes, thank you for having me, and
thank you.
Enjoy your night as well, everybody. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Hoppenha. Is that good?
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Hoppenha.
Yes,
Great.
perfect.
Ciao.
Bye. Ciao.